When we were getting ready for this podcast, I was like, okay, you might need to just coach me through it, because I think about the services that you offer and who I was a very short time ago and how you could have helped that version of me.
I was burned out. I was frustrated. I was disappointed in seeing everybody else move to the top and I still hadn't moved.
I heard what you were saying about, achieving the title. And at least for me, when I did finally get over that hump to move and do something different, I had a total identity crisis.
I had to be truthful to myself and honor that truth.
Okay, guys, now you have heard me go on and on about career pivots. I had my own career pivot. I've talked to other people that had their career pivots, but now I need to give you some actual advice. And we have an expert on this episode whose name is Tricia Simone Vincent, and she is the CEO and founder of Launch Your Influence. Now, I will tell you this, had I been better aware of Tricia's services and the different things that she offers, she definitely would have been somebody that I would have tapped her expertise to help me with my career transition. So her business is service-based, and it's all about helping you with your personal branding, figuring out what makes you special in the workforce, and all of the different things that you need to bring it into a package that can be presented to whomever it is that you're impressing for your next role. Tricia is a former corporate baddie that finally decided that she wanted to launch her own thing when the corporate goals no longer aligned with her core values. So much respect for that kind of person. But I will tell you that she coaches me in this episode about some things that I could probably work on with what any of us are looking at with our career transition. So this is definitely for you if you are in your 50s and you want to do something different, but you're a long ways from taking it to the house for retirement. So take your pen and paper out because you want to take some notes for this episode. Launch Your Influence with Tricia Simone Vincent. Okay. Tricia Simone Vincent, thank you for being here. And we're just going to be real transparent. We're recording right now, and it has been a comedy up until this very second. So
Really has.
I'm trying so hard to be a grown-up, but sometimes my inner goofiness will come out. So we just roll with it.
Let it flow.
And I'm being transparent again. I have Miss Fanny here. This is my fan. So anybody that's listening to this on audio, they'll hear a whirring sound. Just know that I had a hot flash when I have to pull this out.
Melanated Midlife.
Yes.
This is appropriate.
It's all a part of the package.
I love
you
it.
know,
I
you
love
shed
it.
some things, but you pick up some unexpected gifts along the way.
Surprises.
I know. Here
Surprises.
you go. So you came to talk to us today, and I told you when we were getting ready for this podcast, I was like, okay, you might need to just coach me through it, because I think about the services that you offer and who I was a very short time ago and how you could have helped that version of me. So I'll give you a little bit of background so that everybody understands where I'm coming from, because I was a career educator, 23 years as an educator, and then eventually into executive administration. And when I got to that level, I kind of realized this was my personal ceiling.
Okay.
I was on a path to go all the way to a superintendency, and then just realized I didn't really want it anymore. So I got stuck. And being able to talk to people that had made a pivot, that's probably where I should have been. But, I kind of muddled my way through it. And here I am, and we're talking today. So with your work, you actually have made a similar pivot. You left corporate, and now you are doing your own thing. So talk to that version of me that is sitting there at the crossroads.
Stuck.
Kind of stuck, kind of scared,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, put her in your arms and talk to her of what she needs to hear at that moment.
Miss Stuck.
Miss
Let
Stuck.
me tell you something. It is real, right?
is.
And my story is I was the last 14 years, I was working in corporate America, oil and gas, in IT. and I was burned out. I was frustrated. I was disappointed in seeing everybody else move to the top and I still hadn't moved, it seemed like. And then when I started associating to the top, I realized this isn't really what I want to do.
Did you peek behind the curtains too?
Yeah. And it was like, you're not real. You're rude. You have no insight or compassion for the people. And at this point in time, it was right before COVID started occurring. So I was leading a team of 30 contractors that were global. Gotcha. So they were 10 were in India, 10 were in Eastern Europe, Manila, and every day that we were meeting, and that was at 2:00 in the morning sometimes because of the time zones. And when I saw what was happening on that side of the world when COVID was really ramping up, I was getting phone calls of, Trish, my uncle just expired. I'm not able to show up.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. I had managers expecting them to come to work. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you can't. So the humanity of me, I had to be truthful to myself and honor that truth. And so that was what triggered. That was part of an affirmation and confirmation, because prior to that was George Floyd, right?
Okay. Yes.
And so that's really when I saw the transparency.
The collective trauma we all felt.
Yeah. And getting emails of I sympathize with you from people that weren't melanated. And that meant something to me, because in that atmosphere, the change actually has to happen not only from us, but from another community, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like respecting that. And then, but when I saw that was like 1 or 2 people, and I'm at a company of 75,000. And then for me to have to write an email expressing what I have to go through with my father if he gets stopped, and on the, all the stuff that we went through.
Right.
Was I honoring my truth by still functioning in that same capacity?
Yeah.
So what I had to do, and misstuck, what you probably might have to do is assess, right? What are your strengths?
Yeah.
And what are your development areas, and then this is outside of career. So these moments are, what are your core values? So I had to reevaluate really what was important to me.
Did corporate Tricia feel intimidated? I mean, because I think about education version of me. I didn't think I had the skills to transfer into something else. Does that happen when your world has already been corporate?
Yes. So a lot of our clients that do come to us today battle with imposter syndrome. So what is typical that happens for someone that is melanated, someone that's been professional for 20 plus years, you've got the skill set, you've got the experience, you are seeing how things should operate, but you are not allowed to move up to make those changes happen. Or you are placed in those positions, but you are then stricken from being able to function and make things happen the way they need to be happen. So you're just a title, right?
Yeah.
And so when you come out of that, you're like, we have to rebuild people. We have to rebuild their confidence. And so what we do with our Career Catalyst portfolio is we're showing this is the value that you contributed. All those 20 years wasn't wasted. I just heard a podcast, or it was an interview with Earn Your Leisure.
I love that.
I love them. Yeah. I love Troy and Rashad and Ian.
And they're short.
Yes.
They're quick to the point.
Quick to the point. They did an interview a couple of weeks ago with Lucinda Brown Duckett, the CEO of TIAA.
Okay.
And she's remarkable. She's the first CEO that is leading a $1 trillion company. So what that company does is they manage the retirement funds.
I have no context for that number. Trillion.
But it gives me such a warmth to see one of us in that position, managing the retirement fund for teachers. In that amount. Okay. So she came from Houston. I think she graduated from Houston, graduated from Baylor. And she said something so profound. I say this, so if you get a chance, please listen to this as well as Melanated Midlife. She said, I rent my title, but I own my character. Honey, when she said that, I was like, baby, boom.
I wish I had paper.
I rent my title, but own my character.
Okay. Total mic drop.
That totally really diffuses a lot of the mindset that we struggle with when we are stuck, right?
Yeah.
So what we take with us may not be the title, but what we take with us was the training, the competencies, the skill set that we acquired on these organizations that we have enabled to be successful.
Ooh. Okay. I'm listening to you and I'm processing, but at the same time, I am actively thinking back to where I was and everything. And you're right. I had achieved a title and felt proud about that. You know, type A good girl, follow all the rules, check all the boxes. So I'd achieved the title.
Isn't that what we're taught?
That's what we're taught.
Isn't that what our parents have showed us to do?
Our parents tell us that, but then as Black women, there is maybe some association with, if I do all the right things, check all the boxes, I'll be accepted. I will somehow be okay in society's eyes because I'm seeking approval that's outside of my community in order to be deemed a success.
Yeah.
You know, and I could go down the whole rabbit hole for that, but it's like I heard what you were saying about, you know, achieving the title. And at least for me, when I did finally get over that hump to move and do something different, I had a total identity crisis. Because I was education Akilah.
The compartmentalized individual. Oh, I've done that. I've been there.
Thank you.
I had the church Trish,
I've seen
the CEO Trish, the volunteer Trish, the mentor Trish, the college friend Trish. There were so many compartments that I felt safe in.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm not showing up holistically for any of those. So Again, it goes back to that original question, am I honoring my truth?
Yeah, yeah.
And that took a while for me to even answer because then I had to ask, what is my truth?
Yeah. So when we're there and we have made that decision, because I really believe that there are some key decisions you have to make before they show up at your doorstep for your services. So you're not necessarily going to convince somebody, hey, you need to leave your job. No. They should have made that decision before they give you a call.
Right.
So I'm coming to you with 20 plus years in whatever career. Mine was education. And then I want whatever the next thing is, but I ain't ready to go home and retire. I'm not ready for that rocking chair. And you know,
want to pivot.
I want to pivot, and there's still time for me to do something.
Yes.
So how do you help those people?
So for those individuals, they have to embrace everything that they have done up until this point.
Okay.
A lot of times people, when they are they're finally in the position that they're ready to shift. They are so sick and tired of what they did. Yeah. A lot of times they're like, I just want to do something new.
Boredom or just didn't achieve something.
It's part of boredom, but it's also part of rejection. Again, because you weren't recognized for everything that you contributed in. So you don't really see success in that path, right? Let me go away with that.
Yeah.
So what we say, even to the individuals, you said that, what do you say to the person that wants to pivot? We don't even actually advocate leaving your companies because there's some opportunities that are right there. Okay. You just need to be able to speak to what you have contributed in, and maybe it's outside of your department, right? So if there's enterprise size companies, there's opportunities within the company that you can still shift because it may not be worth your while to leave your 20 years, your pension, everything that you're going in. You really need to do a trade-off.
Maybe that benefits package is really good. But you just want to do something else.
You just want to do something else. So what I'm going to say here applies to that, right? So it applies to you whether you want to leave or not. But you know that you know that you need to shift because you're not ready for the next the next step for retirement. So what you still need to do is assess what your skill set is, right? What are those strengths? What have you been recognized for? Which is different than what you think.
Yeah.
So I thought I was recognized because I was analytical, and I went to a session. It was a talk, and they said, text 10 people that you know and ask them, what do they think of you, on your job and your friends. So go back to those compartments and ask this one question and see what everybody says.
Yeah.
I did that, and they were all saying the same thing, and I never saw any of that.
Oh, wow.
And that has been in my backyard the whole time. So I'm going through these 20 years thinking, oh, I need to climb the ladder, right? Like that's what we do. I need to get accepted. I need to get that promotion. And when I started asking, what is it that you guys see of me, and what are things that I can improve on? Those are 2 questions that we asked. Oh my God, consistent. Oh, we love her energy. We love her personality. She makes us feel at ease. And so she's so approachable. We can talk to her about anything. And I was like, these are a lot of soft skills, leadership components.
Yeah.
And then, on the competency side, they were affirming that. So I was like, oh, wow, this, I need to pause. I need to really pause and reassess, because I'm getting new data about myself that I never knew existed.
Blindsided you in a good way.
In a good way. So find out what that is, because that actually is what you want to continue in. You don't want to separate yourself from the expertise that you have built. The second thing that I ask our clients is, if you're still at the company, go back to your performance reviews. And you would be surprised. You have already laid out your value. You have already quantified your value. All of this is owned by Workday, SAP, SuccessFactors. HR has all of your business, except you don't own it. So and let me say when it's time for me to do my performance reviews at those times, I was so ready to finish it and just get it through so I can get the bonus or what have you. But I forgot about all that stuff.
It's a box checker for me.
And no, when it's time for you to shift, that's your data. So there's a lot
I feel a little exposed right now.
Oh, I was definitely exposed. I was like, I need to know what I did. I had to pick up the phone a couple months ago, and I was like, hey, what did I do in this position? I called someone from business planning because they have the numbers. And they were like, Trish, you were working with 40 contractors. You were managing $4 million. And I was like, I didn't think it was important enough to write down. But that's stuff that we are leaving on the table. That is the information that you own and can take with you.
Right.
So I have a different philosophy for companies, which is why I don't always jump to say it's time for you to leave.
That's good advice.
I think that organizations and businesses are our training ground. You are getting paid to get trained. They give you a paycheck every week, and the mentality is, well, they owe me because I'm working. No, shift the mentality. It is an opportunity. You are getting paid to get this training, because that is what is on your documentation, your employment history.
Okay.
That is what you take away. Remember, your title is rented.
Oh, I love that. Okay. I need to pause so I can write some things down, because number one, I need to go back and look at my performance reviews, and that's information that I have access to right now that I won't if I walk out the door.
Right.
So, okay, that is lesson one.
That is a major lesson, because I have a hard time of remembering what I did in January.
Yeah.
Much less what I did 5 years ago on this big project that the company benefited from. So when we start meeting with our clients and start talking about, tell me a little bit about this. And they're like, I didn't think that was important. Yeah. Bam. That's very important. That you enable the company to be successful.
You were a key component in them reaching whatever goals from last year.
So the second thing that I would suggest is you get your performance reviews. Mm-hmm. What if you don't have that, right? Or you do know what you did, but you really don't know how to say it. Mm-hmm. Then we ask, if you did not do what you did, what is the impact? So reverse engineer it. If I did not document and control all this confidential information, the lawyers wouldn't be able to present their cases and defend. So if you didn't do what you did, what is the impact to the company?
Yeah.
That is the value that you want to document. Okay. And that then is what you are equipped with to speak to whoever you need to tell your story with.
Yeah. So when you work with different clients, your midlifers specifically, are you noticing some commonalities in their stories or the whatever vulnerabilities they show up with? What are we all doing that we don't talk about?
So we are all suffering silently because of the rejection. And then we are taking on imposter syndrome very well. Mm-hmm. So we walk away unsure and unconfident. So the mask is publicly there to say, I'm good, I'm in the role. But then with inflation on the high, with jobs, in a flux, okay, I'm a little bit nervous and I don't have the same confidence that I had before. Mm-hmm. And so we see that people really don't own their successes. So they own what they have done, but they don't own their outcomes, which is what I just helped you. Yeah. How do I find out what my outcomes are? Yes. It's that reverse engineering.
Yes.
So I'm great at articulating who I'm with, what the position is, but I have a challenge of being able to state how I contributed to the bigger picture.
Yeah. So with us at this age, assuming that they've had 25 plus years, in the working world, whatever that career was, is there anything, because we hear about ageism, and that's probably for everybody, but I think about Black midlifers specifically. Are there some real ugly truths that we need to just keep in view, or is that in our heads?
No. So ageism, in the grandiose things, you're correct. It applies to everybody, but specifically for us, we have to pay attention to those details because you don't want to entertain anything that rules you out. So if it's easily to bucket us, it'll just be a checkbox and keep on moving, right? So small things, even with email addresses. So I've gotten... I went to a recruiting workshop and we're like, nope, if we see AOL, if we see Hotmail, if we see Yahoo, it's a flag.
That's dating you.
It's dating you.
Okay.
If we see your address, it's dating you.
On the resume. Mm-hmm. Okay.
If we see, what else is a common? This is just inherent of what we do because we're midlifers. We've got 20 plus years experience. If we see that it's 5 pages long for every activity, every job that we've had, that's a flag, love. We don't want to see that. We want to see 10 years or less.
Okay.
10 years or less. And, and the true midlifers are like, wait, those are things that I really achieved. So I feel robbed. Like all of the years that I did before 10 years, you're going to ignore and not. So we found a way to not take that away.
Tell me about that.
To make sure that it's incorporated into your story. So we work with portfolios.
Okay, let's preach about this.
Yeah, because if you're just trying to do a resume, we're not it.
It's a flat sheet of paper.
Yeah, we don't.
Yes.
We can help you with that, but that is not where our expertise resides, right?
Okay.
So we realize all of those years, your story is more than just a resume, right? So we focus on building your personal brand, which incorporates a lot of elements that you had prior to 10 years ago. And so we are showcasing it very delicately and digitally. So we're being innovative. And what I realized for myself, I'm not only the president and the CEO, I am also a member, right? I realized that when it was time for me, before I pivoted into Launch Your Influence, I actually pivoted back into academia. So somebody actually reached out to me and said there was a corporate fellow position at University of Houston downtown. And would I be interested in this? Yes. It was specifically on project management, training. That's my skill set. Yeah. So I realized I've got all these years experience. I can't send them 5 pages. Yeah. And then I realized all of those leadership senior managers, they have their secretaries to make them really look good. They're businesses that you can harp on to highlight your personal brand, right? So if you're in a C-suite, you have been established. You've got a bio, you've got excerpts, you've got your
multiple projects,
professional photo, all of that, right? It's all defined and laid out so you could be marketed professionally. I didn't have that. Wow. And then I realized the average person doesn't have that. Yeah. So how do I get that same executive presence digitally to present my better self and sell myself? Yeah. And so that's where I started off with what Launch Your Influence is. I love it. I packaged it, sent it to them, and they were like, we have never seen anything like it. And I was like, that's it. That's the point. That was the point. So I used that as a baseline, and we have building off of that ever since.
So how successful has that been just for you personally?
Oh my gosh. It has. I get excited doing this for other people. Yeah. So for myself, I'm like, I just realized that, oh, wait, I'm my first client. Yeah. And so to see the success with that and to share that. So I actually share elements with the class. I'm in some of the classes that I teach out there. But it's been a win-win because I understand the pain. I understand the rejection. I understand we're being stuck and not having something accessible to make a difference, to stand out in a saturated, competitive job market.
Very much so. And I think about specifically, again, I go back to my former self. And as I'm talking to you right now, part of my thoughts are with some education colleagues that right now, at this time of year that we're recording this, they're looking to what the next contract is. Because education, we go in K-12 education, contract to contract. So your new contract starts in July or, depending on, what your calendar year is. And they're thinking right now, I really want to do something different, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what's going to make me stand out because there is a specific formula in K-12 and there's no deviating from that. So if they want to stand out, they're having those conversations right now of, I don't know what to do. And because I don't know what to do, I might just stay where I am. And that breaks my heart.
That breaks my heart too.
Yeah. But it's real. It
really is real.
Yeah, because where we are, we're established, we have credibility. And if I go out to try something new, I don't have any of that. I got to leave or the idea is that I leave some of that behind. But you're saying that no, there's a way to package that and take it with you.
Yeah, there's a way for you to package that and take it with you. There's a way to still function within the system and stand out in the system. So high school, you're right, with school districts, it's different than higher education. It's very different than medical. So presenting your work history to all of those, there is a specific system that you need to stay in so it can be received and not rejected. Yeah. So we accommodate that. So if you've got, maybe that means we might need to send or you may have to have 2 documents. One that goes by protocol and one that says, well, let me just, I got to send you a thank you note. So let me just send you a little bit something more about myself and insert that into it.
Is that how it's done?
Is that how it's done? Well, I need you to, yes. That's one little nugget I'll give to you. Yes.
Gotcha.
So you don't separate from that because those systems are in play. And again, what I said earlier is you do not want to disqualify yourself from existing systems and protocols, right? So if I want to be a disruptor, I've got to be smart about it, right? So our goal is for you to present your best self confidently and that you stand out, right? So how are they going to remember you? So part of our success is paying attention to the small little details of your, interview journey that you may have. So it can be a job. It could be that you're applying to be on a board of directors. It's the same thing. You still need to present your work history.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. So it is not necessarily just about getting the next gig. It's
the next opportunity.
The next opportunity. Again, the title is rented.
Yes.
Oh, okay. We are coming full circle.
It's the next opportunity, which is why we named our company Launch Your Influence.
Yeah.
Because it's all about you showcasing your expertise and launching your influence to those that are around you.
Okay, so speak to just all Black women that are the overachievers, that are, I do all the things right or whatever. Where do we need to just start listening to those voices? We've got things that are coming to us internally. We've got societal expectations. I mean, talk to those women that are really still at that crossroads. They're whether it's career, whether it's business, it could just be lifestyle. Give some advice to those people right now that are listening. You've inspired them because holy heck, I need to launch my influence and all that. Get them moving right now. Their feet are stuck. They are paralyzed. What are you going to say to inspire them to make the next step?
If you are tired of Bob and Karen's excelling in the world and you're watching them go by, if you are frustrated that you're still in the same position and then you realize that frustration grows because I don't know what to do, I don't know how to start, I don't know where to go, then you're overwhelmed. Because you don't have the time. Because you still have to be successful. You still have to deliver. We are a do-it-for-you agency. So we're going to save you the time. We're going to remove the complexity.
Okay.
We're going to be your cheerleaders. We're going to be with you in the valley and on with your victories and support you through your journey. And so we find that is missing. The support, being able to do everything for them and with excellence and having them stand out, we're here for you.
So I don't have to figure this out.
You don't have to figure this out.
Okay.
So we're actually working with you, and that's where the branding comes in, the personal branding, because it's going to be unique to you. And so one of the things that we had a really great success story, a young lady came to us and she didn't have the greatest confidence. And we just sent her a draft. We just talked to her one day, sent her a draft. A matter of fact, my admin at the time called and said, hey, we just finished it. We just want to let you know. But what we did was we actually updated her LinkedIn profile. And I was like, oh, let me call her and tell her thank you. Like, we're just now finishing her, portfolio. And I called and she was like, I just got a job offer. I was like, it is Monday. You just talked to us on Friday. What just happened? I was like, how is this possible? You didn't even use a resume. And she said that they saw she stood out on LinkedIn. They reached out to her. They interviewed her. They offered her the job. And she said, because you worked with me, I knew my value. So I asked for more money. And then I said, oh my gosh, I was gone there. And I was like, this is awesome. Thank you, Jesus. And then she said, no,
That's a
Trish.
breakthrough. That is a breakthrough.
No, they offered me more money after what I asked for. And I was like, excuse me? She's like, yes, they offered me more money. And I was like,
Oh my
this
gosh.
is awesome. So she actually, a year later, she got hired permanently because that was contract.
Okay.
And then, so she's full-time at the company. And literally last week, she was approached to get promoted to a leadership role.
Oh,
And so I said, I love working for the long haul.
Yeah.
So when I say that we're with you, we want to we're with you. Like, you're not getting rid of us. So if I see something on LinkedIn and you didn't tell me before, Mama Tricia's going to get on the phone and say, did I miss something?
Hey, girl, you need to talk about that.
Hello, what happened? And so they're, they're like, oh my gosh. And so we're happy with them. And so it's a good relationship and partnership. Right.
I love it.
So I hope that helps those that are in transition. You're not sure, but there is someone out here to help you through that transition. And so,
that's a big deal. And I appreciate you being here to share all of this. I have a lot of people I need to send your way. So
awesome.
And I will wrap it up by allowing you to, number one, tell us, is there any pre-work that they need to do before they get to you? And then once they're with you, tell us about that.
It's really easy. Go to www.launchyyourinfluence.com.
Okay.
On that site, there's Let's Go. Fill out that application and schedule an appointment with me, and we will begin having that conversation. We'll see if we're a good fit for each other.
Okay.
But that's where it begins. So we would love to talk and meet with you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for you.
Hey, I'm taking notes, and I'm going to send this episode to quite a few people because they need to hear it.
Awesome. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, maybe we'll have you back for a few follow-ups. You can coach me through the next big crisis.
I'm here for you. Anything, any day.
Good deal.